we may have to open a discourse. What's up, guys? That guy with the pencil here, and here we are to do a breakdown / discussion on whether or not Mahito now, at this point, at the current point of the manga, chapter 262, has, like, any win cons against Yuji. Like, any of them. Like, any of them. Or has he just been fully outdone, surpassed, body bagged, swept under the rug by the empty vessel, the reincarnated, well, not really reincarnated, but the son / nephew / worst enemy of the King of Curses, Ryomen Sukuna, Yuji Itadori. We have a lot to talk about in so little time, so let's not waste any more time and let's hop right into it. Heading me, are you ready? 3, 2, 1, go. What's up, guys? That guy with a pencil here. Fun fact, I do happen to have it on me and keep it on me at all times. And another fun fact, Mahito versus Yuji is still a topic that I do see discussed. Obviously, with every single point of progression that Yuji's had throughout the narrative, a lot of people come back to, for all intents and purposes, Yuji's primary antagonist in the back half of the series. Don't get me wrong, Sukuna's definitely set up to be the antagonist in the long run, in the long term, but I'd say it's pretty easy to declare that Mahito is most certainly Sukuna. Well, I can't say Mahito's like a Sukuna antagonist, because he's mainly a Yuji antagonist. I think Mahito knows his place against Sukuna. I was going to say he was like a Sukuna and Yuji antagonist. No, not really. He's mainly just a Yuji antagonist. That's the thing. Mahito is the Yuji antagonist. And thusly, with Yuji fighting against his main antagonist in Ryomen Sukuna, there are questions consistently being asked on whether Mahito even stands a chance anymore, especially considering we've gotten so late into the narrative. Like, Mahito ends up getting got around chapter, let's take a look in a book reading Rainbow 132. We are 130 chapters out from the end of Mahito, or at least the loss of his fight. Like, technically, he doesn't perish until 133, so technically we're one chapter off from being 130 chapters away from this man's execution, or at least, and then deletion from the series. But with that being the case, the question came to mind of like, okay, we could make an entire video discussing about like Mahito's overall abilities and potential and all that, and how it matches up against Yuji Itadori. But then I started thinking, does bro even have, like, a single win con on Yuji? At this point? Like, let's really think about it. Let's really think about it. Because, you know, the thing about a battle is that typically there are win cons on both sides. This is just universal. Whether the win con be hitting you, or using a certain ability on you, or a combination of both, like hitting you with an ability, or some abilities are passive. You know, they're typically win cons. But, like, I was reviewing Mahito's kit, and I think a lot of it kind of just falls flat against Yuji now, even in spite of Yuji losing the big thing. Because here's the thing, I know exactly what a lot of the Mahito people are going to be like, Pencil Man, I see, you must have forgotten about Mahito's main ability that Yuji Itadori is no longer immune to. Did you forget about the beautiful, the powerful, the juicy, the scrumptious, idle transfiguration? Well, all Mahito needs to do is get his nice sticky little fingers all over Yuji Itadori's body, and then suddenly Yuji Itadori's going to look like a fish. No, I didn't forget that. But here's the big issue. Well, technically it's twofold. One, yes, the base variation of Idle Transfiguration is technically enough to do something to Yuji now, because once again, Sukuna is gone. Their souls are separated. And thusly, Yuji does not have an automatic Duraneg destroy Mahito ability in the Sukuna living inside of him and their souls being interfused. But a big issue that we know is that ultimately, as long as you're on guard, Mahito kind of can't one-tap destroy you. The biggest reason that Nobara gets got so horribly here by one simple schmack is one, because Mahito landed a hit on a vital area, aka her face, and two, it's the fact that her guard was down. Like that's like the whole big thing. She was literally caught off guard and caught by surprise from Mahito's grippers. But Yuji, in a one-to-one fight with Mahito, would not be getting caught off guard. Like, ever. And even if he did, we know that Idle Transfiguration isn't actually like a one-tap. It does take time, and the strength of a person does factor in massively. This is shown as early as Mahito, well, realistically it's as late, but as early as Mahito's first interaction with Nanami, where he reveals that, oh shoot, I can get my grippers all over you, but it really ain't doing nothing to you because you're just that bulky. You're subconsciously protecting your soul with cursed energy. And remember, that was subconsciously. Nanami didn't know about souls. He never learned about souls. But not only is Yuji like way more powerful after his awakening in 257 and the black flashes he continued to land and the further evolution he got from unlocking multiple curse techniques and all that and consuming his siblings, but also, once again, even if it did land, it would take a couple hits, and Yuji already knows how to guard his soul. To some degree. He knows of the soul and its contours, and he knows how to really directly target the boundary between it too. So, I think it's not unreasonable to assume he has some sort of soul protection. And, once again, it's kind of implied here, the top-knot gorilla's soul is at full strength. Can I slaughter him with one touch with the state I'm in? I'd say Itadori's soul is about 10%. So, like, Mahito, at 40%, isn't confident he can one-tap Toto. He can one-tap Toto! But you want me to believe that he's going to be able to one-tap Yuji Itadori after his training in the month time skip where he got RCT, blood manipulation, awakened cleave in 257, awakened just in general because he got the spiral eyes, and has those weird mystical magical arms that still haven't been explained? I don't know. While Idle Transfiguration is definitely on the table, I don't think it would work on Yuji as effectively as a one-tap. And two, I'll be honest with you, the speed gap should be absolutely insane between the two. Once again, Mahito is out here, somewhat keeping pace with both Yuji and Toto at the same time, but Toto's not only able to consistently react to Mahito, but Yuji's also able to consistently react to Mahito while being in a much worse well, is it much worse? I guess Lucas. Yeah. I say it's pretty fair to say that Shibuya Yuji at this point was in a much worse physical and mental and even spiritual state than Mahito was. So in spite of bringing out 120% of his potential, it's very likely that the Yuji, who's currently in the manga, that brought out 120% plus of his post-time skip, post-training, post-Shibuya, crazy next level potential, is probably above Mahito in stats. At least all the relevant ones. Meaning that Mahito likely wouldn't even be able to land a hit without a transfiguration. That's just the case. And realize, a lot of Mahito's attacks outside of that are kind of blunt force based, and Yuji also would kind of take no damage from them. Remember, Mahito does have crazy things. He has body repel, which allows him to do things like this. We know he's shown the ability to create polymorphic soul isomers, where he fuses people together to attack people. We know he can split his body in different ways. He can clone himself. But all that does is burn through his cursed energy. And all of them are potentially one-shot. Once again, while it is impressive that this polymorphic soul isomer was able to keep up to a certain degree with Toto and, knock him away when he was caught off guard, yeah. One, that was Toto not knowing how strong it would be. Yuji would have a good idea of how strong it would be. And two, it's very likely just not tagging Yuji. And considering Toto was able to one-shot it way back when, Yuji can definitely one-shot. He can probably flick it out of existence, even if Mahito makes a bunch of them. And Mahito relies on a bunch of wide area of effect, brute force attacks. Like, Yuji could just eat them. This is the same man who, need I remind you, ate a black flash from the King of Curses. Remember, this is Sukuna landing one. This isn't Yuji's shoulder checking a black flash. That's Sukuna's fist impacting with Yuji's shoulder while black flashing, and Yuji's like, really? That all you got? So, if he's able to do that to Sukuna black flashes, nothing Mahito does physically is going to bother him. And whatever he does do physically in terms of, punch, or using people to, brute force Yuji also isn't going to work. He's too bulky now. He's legit just too bulky. It's kind of like a Ryu situation, where, most characters wouldn't even be able to scratch Ryu because of how high his durability is. But it's even worse for Mahito, because while Yuji is more than just a walking tank, that man's speedy and he hits hard. The thing with Mahito is that he was already taking damage from regular Yuji. And with that being the case, and Yuji already being able to react to a lot of his attacks, yeah, Mahito, one, wouldn't be able to tag Yuji, and two, wouldn't be able to do anything. But here's the big one. Here's the juicy one. Here's what I know a lot of the Mahito fans have been waiting for me to mention. Pencil man. You think you're slick. You think you're devious. I know what you are, Pencil man. You were waiting on it to talk about the domain expansion. Sure, Mahito may not be fast enough. Sure, Mahito may not have enough durability to survive and extend the battle with Yuji. Sure, all that's nice and cool and buttery. But what's Yuji Itadori gonna do when Mahito opens an open? Well, not an open domain expansion. He doesn't have that. But at least not an open buried one. What is he gonna do when Mahito opens domain expansion? Especially now that Mahito does not have to do the 0.2 second one. He only did this because of Sukuna, Pencil Man. Remember that. He no longer has to do that because Sukuna is no longer a factor. He doesn't remove himself from Yuji Itadori, and thusly, this is a scenario that doesn't even need to be worried about anymore. He can just use his technique on Yuji freely. Should be good, right? Should be clean, right? Should be wonderful. This should be a Mahito win con, right? I would have probably still disagreed with you. I probably would have probably still disagreed with you, but even still, unfortunately, Gege thought of it all. Gege really thought of it all. Because Yuji Itadori now has the new Shadow Style Simple Domain. He did swap training with Kusakabe. Now, that does not mean he has auto attack, because I think he would be spamming that. If he did have the auto attack that Kusakabe shown the ability to do, I do think Yuji Itadori would be spamming it to the moon on Sukuna, because why wouldn't you? But still, the fact that he has new Shadow Style Simple Domain, and then we know that you can fight while maintaining your Simple Domain. We see Yuki run while using her Simple Domain. We see Gojo fight while Simple Domain breaks down. We know you can do all that. Yeah. Yuji activates Simple Domain and then waits for Mahito to engage him. Because remember, the perk of Mahito's domain is that he doesn't have to touch you. The attack is, sure, hit, right? It's instantaneous. But we know it ain't too instantaneous, because remember, way back when he used his domain expansion. A domain expansion of 0.2 seconds, where Mahito specifically did this to avoid Yuji. Remember what the narrator says. It's all or nothing, a domain expansion of 0.2 seconds. Todo defended against the domain by casting a simple domain he learned from Yuki Tsukumo. Yuji was even faster, already running toward Mahito to exercise him before he could activate Auto Transfiguration. But the fastest was Mahito, who had already activated his curse technique. The realization of an innate domain, plus the activation of a curse technique, the two-step process was shortened to one. Thanks to his awakening due to Black Flash, Mahito managed to pull off the sublimely fast maneuver. So Yuji was already close in reaction range. He was already getting there. Now imagine how much stronger and faster Yuji is. It's based on his numerous amps. From just being his demon god self post Shibuya, then getting healed from his demon god self post Shibuya, then awakening when he became liberated Yuji, where he ended up leaping up so drastically in speed and strength that Sukuna was like, what? And then he got even more training over the month time skip using Kusakabe's body and Yuda's body, and then he got the weird gauntlet arms, and then he got multiple black flashes on Sukuna, then he awakened there too, and I just don't think that even if Mahito were to resort to domain, he would be able to get it up faster than Yuji could simple domain. And here's the thing, once again we run into the same issue, Yuji should have enough soul bulk that even if he somehow is a little late on new Shadow Style Simple Domain, he should be able to just flat out say no to Mahito for a little bit. Just a calm little bit. He should just be able to say no. And whatever he loses, as long as he can still cast Simple Domain, which he should be able to do just fine, he'll be fine. Mahito then has to come engage him. And then we run into the same issue we did outside the domain, where Mahito can't do any damage to Yuji, because Yuji's way too bulky. He can't just soul manipulate Yuji, because Yuji's soul is way too strong now, and he also has soul resistance to a certain degree to be able to perceive it. And on top of that, Yuji can still throw hands inside Simple Domain. And he would just grab Mahito and start beating him up inside his own domain. It'd be like a reverse scenario of what happened to Gojo and Sukuna. Like, straight up, absolute annihilation from the Simple Domain user. And here's the thing, you may be saying, oh, well, Pencil Man, sure, that sounds all nice and all, but what if Yuji's Simple Domain crumbles? What if it shatters? What if it breaks? One, I don't think it works in the same way as... no one's gonna say Mahito, but I don't think Mahito's domain worked the same way as Sukuna's and Kenjaku's. Kenjaku's sure hit is Uzumaki. I'll go more into detail on that another time. It's not actually the gravity technique, it is just flat out Uzumaki. I'll cover that in a video on its own. Someone brought up a fantastic video series, JJK 101. I'm gonna cop it. I'll give him credit, but that is Uzumaki, which is a physical energy attack that makes sense when Open Buried would attack everything and destroy things. Malevolent Shrine obviously uses Cleave and Dismantle, which also attack everything and destroy things. Mahito's domain just touches you, which sounds so bad, but it just touches you. So if Yuji's domain was able to last as long as it did under the pressure of what is confirmed to be I repeat, what is confirmed to be. But even with his back against the wall, Ryomen Sukuna isn't lowering the difficulty of his barrier technique. As in Shibuya, he isn't using a barrier to divide his effective range in the outside world. Covering the domain with a barrier's external shell provides an escape route. The binding vow disappears, the effective range shrinks, and the domain specifications change, and the guaranteed hit activates with the manifested landscape of mental imagery. That makes it impossible to notice Maki Zenin, who has no cursed energy, and Sukuna is currently incapable of maintaining this high-level domain. But, after 99 seconds, Malevolent Shrine will collapse. Essentially, that's a full output Malevolent Shrine. The thing that is limiting it is the 99-second timer. Yuji's Symbol Domain was able to eat that for a real long time. Long enough, at least a minute 30, because the moment he stops eating it, he then proceeds to face tank a full output Malevolent Shrine. He just eats it. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. He loses a leg and barely reattaches it. Mahito's domain is not on the same level as Sukuna's in any way, shape, and or form. His domain is not breaking Yuji's Symbol Domain, and then Yuji just pieces him up. That's it. That's it. Once again, Mahito has nothing. And here's the thing. I'll talk about the last thing that I know the Mahito fans are itching, scratching. I've been waiting for me to talk about. Knowing Pencil Man, you devious individual. I know what you've been hiding behind what you were even hiding. Show me the form, Pencil Man. And I'm here to show you the form and explain why it also doesn't really count as a win con, just based on how the form is described to function and work and exist. Yeah, you know the thing about, the true instant spirit body of distorted execution? You know, that big, juicy, scrumptious, delicious thing that Mahito activates? Yeah, it's wonderful, it's beautiful, it's jacked, it's juicy, it literally has a 6-pack worth of abs. But, funny thing, in the volume extras for chapter 132, we learned a little funny thing about the instant spirit body of distorted execution. Mahito's unbridled soul, 200% tougher than his original form, according to his own estimates. A binding vow further increases his toughness in exchange for halting his metamorphosis. Only his hands are like his original form. In other words, even when in an instant spirit body of distorted execution, he can use idle transfiguration. Blades, due to a binding vow shortening the metamorphosis cycle, he hardly sacrifices any toughness, even when catching opponents at a moderate distance. It's sort of like Senku Kogetsu from World Trigger, so I didn't include the explanation in the manga. If Itadori hadn't nailed him with Black Flash, Mahito would have torn him to shreds. Once again, an infinitely weaker Itadori. If Itadori can eat dismantles to the face, once again I remind you, dismantles to the literal face from Ryomen Sukuna. Like, where is it? I know it's here. You can't hide from me. I know it happens in 257. But, like, the man literally eats dismantles from Sukuna at a point-blank range to the face. Yeah, those cute little blades that Mahito's got, they ain't doing nothing. They ain't doing nothing. Not so Yuji. And 200% toughness. Wow, that's crazy. I'd still say Sukuna's bulkier. Yeah. I say Sukuna's way bulkier. And if he isn't bulkier, somehow, for some reason, Mahito's somehow now bulkier than Sukuna, even though that makes absolutely no sense, Yuji will land Black Flashes. He is guaranteed to land Black Flashes. He's going to lock in and land Black Flashes. And guess what? He doesn't even need them. Because you know what else Yuji has now that's revealed in 257? Oh yeah, that's right. Cleave. He can now use Cleave. You know, the thing that automatically adjusts to one's durability? The same curse technique may manifest somewhat differently depending on the sorcerer, but this is subnormal. He just awakened it and his output is low. The real problem is his punching accuracy. So, even if it starts off as weak, it was still strong enough to harm Sukuna immediately. Mahito's getting eviscerated. He's getting cleaved to oblivion. So no, true spirit body of distorted execution is also not a win con. Neither is domain expansion. Neither is Mahito's regular tactics, and neither is idle transfiguration. I legit don't think there's not a way for him to win. That's the big... All of Mahito's kit is worthless, either because of Yuji's raw stats, his hacks, and or both. Like, Yuji's just faster, stronger, more durable, and has not better hacks. I still say Mahito has the overall better hacks kit, just because idle transfiguration is really, really good. But I don't know. Yuji kind of just has the man's number now. His feats are kind of just too good. Like, once again, I cannot see Mahito face tanking a full output Malevolent Shrine. I just don't see the vision. I'm sorry, it's just not... I may be blind. I just don't see the vision. I really don't see him doing that. I see him getting victimized by Sukuna, considering he got victimized by one slash. So, yeah. Mahito just has no win cons on Yuji. Not a single one. Every single thing he has is either hard countered by Yuji, straight up ignorable by Yuji, and or Yuji can kind of just work against. The domain is a simple domain victim. It's as simple as that. The idle transfiguration itself is just a Yuji bulky soul victim. And Yuji never getting tagged by Mahito because of the massive speed gap. The instant spirit body of Distorted Execution, while it may be 200% tougher than Mahito, that ain't good enough. It ain't Sukuna built tough. It ain't that jacked. It ain't that juicy. Unfortunately, Yuji Tadori's just gotten too strong, too fast, too powerful, too durable, too jacked, too juicy. He's just too him! He's too him at this point. Mahito's simply not a threat. And that's a shame for Mahito. But I know for every single Yuji fan out there, we are eating well. However, that's what I think. Please what you guys think in the comment section down below. Do you guys think I'm crazy? Do you think that ultimately Mahito can still somehow pull out a win con against Yuji, even with his drastically inferior stats, his lack of showings, and overall Yuji's ability to hard counter him in spite of losing Sukuna? Or do you think that I'm right? And that ultimately, yeah, Mahito kind of has no win con, so a battle between the two would kind of just be Mahito fighting for his life, only to find out that Yuji does not have to really try at all. Because he's just that bulky, that fast, and that strong, and ultimately Mahito's just now a Yuji victim. Please let me know all that and more in the comment section down below. I'd like to thank you so much for watching. Please remember to leave a like, share, comment, and subscribe, and make sure that notification bell so you don't miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Also, I do have to have a Patreon below where you can support me for as low as $1 month. Things like exclusive videos, early content, and more. You also now become a member of the channel for as low as $3 a month to get the same perks and more. Some of those perks include the live reaction to the very next chapter of Jujutsu Kaisen, ad-free variations of all my videos, and if you become a $25 patron or a $25 member, you can order whatever video you want. Also, I do have a link to my Ko-Fi in the description down below where you can drop 5 beans for a short video, 25 beans for a long video, and any beans at all. Any support is always greatly appreciated. Now, I'd like to thank you so much for watching once again, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is That Other Pencil, writing off. I'd like to thank you to our $3 members: Recliner Plays, Greyhound, Atkins Void, Astro, Eternal Flame, King Sukuna, NMA, Real Rare, Paris Arnold, G Prosper, and Red Wolf 4765. And I'd like to thank you to our $5 patrons: Steron, Sean, Sammy, Midnight Lord 21, Kevin Encarnacion, Josh Brown, and A+A. And I'd like to thank you to our $7 patrons: Autumn Mornings Lazo and Fine. And I'd like to thank you to our $10 members, Robbie Uchiha and Jay Warrior. And I'd like to give another thank you to our $10 patrons, Panda Goat, Metal Solid Crisis, Joaquin Munoz, and Joaquin Munoz, along with Idemokami. And I'd like to give a final gargantuan thank you to our $25 patron, Calvin Elder.